What's going on, partners? Today we're going to break down and examine Turtle from Compton's interview on Between the Lines. This gentleman spent 32 years in solitary confinement. I encourage you to go ahead and watch the whole documentary and determine for yourself if the SHU program and the hunger strike was as successful as the media is claiming it was. Now we're going to start where he starts explaining his criminal history.
I went to juvenile hall for different things. One was for, we used to sniff paint when we were young. One was for burglary. I got out. Then when I turned 15 is when I picked up attempted murder. I went to Fred Sinales. I stood in Fred Sinales 1979, 1980. 1981. Fortunately, Fred Sinales was full of what you would call the worst of the worst. So as far as juveniles, it was kids that the juvenile system couldn't handle. So it was wild there.
Yeah, why was it so wild?
A lot of fist fights, a lot of kids growing up and with no structure, no discipline. I can honestly say the YA, it made me worse.
Really?
Yes, it made me worse than when I was on the streets. It made me more, I guess, through the fights and the violence in YA, it like hardened me.
Yeah, more aggressive.
It made me more aggressive.
With no remorse kind of thing.
Yeah, because when I got out, I only stood out a few months. I picked up a murder robbery. You know, in 1981, I picked up a murder robbery.
Did you do that because you needed money? And you needed to, or was it more of like a gang affiliation, validation kind of thing?
No, at that age of when I was 18, my problem was alcohol. I was alcoholic.
You were an alcoholic.
Yes.
So you weren't in the right mindset?
No, I was actually drunk when I committed the offense. Yes. In my case, I was originally sentenced to life without possibility of parole. They were trying to give me the death sentence. Came to prison. I was in San Quentin, 82, 83, then Old Folsom, 84, 85, 86. Most of them years were in the SHU, the solitary confinement, the hole. I only spent a few months on the main line. Then in 86, I was in the SHU in Old Folsom. They released everyone from the SHU in Old Folsom to the main line in 86. I stood on the main line from 86 to 88. And in 1988, I picked up an assault with a deadly weapon. I came to the SHU in 88.
So you were in and out of the SHU?
Yes, yes. All the way to 88. And then 88, I stood in the SHU from 1988 to 2015.
Oh my goodness. So you were in solitary confinement for most of your time?
Yes, yes. Approximately 32 years.
32 years by yourself in a room. What can you speak to me? Tell me about what that was like. What does the room look like? What do you have in there? What's it like at the beginning when you went, and how'd you stay sane throughout those times?
I'm surprised on her reaction. Her reaction is, you've been in solitary confinement for 32 years. I mean, don't get me wrong, that is awful. And I don't wish that upon anybody. 32 years in solitary confinement, I can't even imagine. But the dude just broke down his criminal history. He's not a good dude. He's been in and out of the SHU and keeps picking up murder cases. So my question to you is, should he be out of the SHU? Now let's hear his story about Turtle on when he was out on the main yard and the power that he controlled. The YouTube channel Stories Written by a Current Prisoner has a whole prison yard story about Turtle from Compton. Go ahead, check out his video. I'm going to fast forward to Turtle's story. Just know that someone stole in the yard, and now the person that stole needs to be disciplined.
Bird, he actually stole from this dude. You understand what I'm saying? So when that all came out, Turtle caught wind of it, and it came to the point where Turtle pulled this dude to the side, along with the rest of the members from the mesa right there, and the dudes that were pretty much running the yard, the bloqueros, and the bloqueros were the cats that were in charge of each block, right? So let's say, for example, a bloquero for one block, he would be running that block. That's what they were called. So Turtle got with the mesa and had this individual, this thief, in hand right there during their little meeting, right? And it was said that Turtle gave this dude the ultimatum, Tony. He could either be blasted, right? Shanked, taken off on with a piece, or he could have his finger broken for stealing, right? And just imagine that, Tony, and any of the viewers out there. Imagine being approached by somebody giving you the ultimatum of either having your finger broke or being stabbed up. What would you do? You know what I'm saying? What would you do? And all this for stealing. Okay. Now I agree. Stealing is the worst of the worst. Point blank. There's no room for thieves. There's no room for robbing. There's no room for any of that sort of play right there. So I agree with repercussions, and I agree with being disciplined behind it, right? But to that extent, I don't know. You know what I'm saying? I don't know. But apparently, this individual, man, he decided to take the breaking of the finger, right? So when he decided to go that route, I believe they were on the yard right there at one of the tables, man, and they were sitting right there, and homeboy had his hand flayed out on the table, right? Like palm down, fingers spread out, hand wide open, and with their pinky finger, Turtle, he grabbed that finger and bent that finger all the way back till you heard that sucker cry.
This call and your telephone number will be monitored and recorded.
You understand what I'm saying? And, rather than being stabbed up, that's what happened to this thief.
There you have it. That's what happens when individuals like these are let into general population. So do we keep them in the hole? What good is it that we keep these individuals in the hole if the discipline and broken finger is going to happen regardless, to be honest with you? Whether Turtle is on the main line or in the shoe, physical violence on thieves, chomos, drug debts, snitches, it's still going to happen. Now let's listen to Turtle's experience inside the hole and his claim of inhumane treatment within the shoe.
Remember, there was a guy that I knew. I was on the main line with him, and he was cool. And then I talked to him once in the shoe, and he told me, hey, Turtle, I'm starting to hear voices. So that right there, it's sad when you have people like that there's really nothing you could do for them because they want you to debrief, to get out. And I'll tell me, you got to stay strong. You got to keep your mind strong. You got to read and you got to study. You got to work out because the shoe was, it was driving people crazy. There was inmates that were committing suicide. I remember they had put an African in the pod with me. A pod is a section where there's 8 cells, 4 cells on the bottom, 4 on the top. The African was going crazy. He was in the cell naked, full of fecal matter, shitting on himself, pissing on himself, throwing it at people when they would pass by his cell. He would go shower. He would shit in the shower on the yard. They would extract him, took him out, and them are the symptoms of what the shoe will cause. So we came together. We all
Those
the
sound like
different races,
symptoms
all the
like
different
addiction.
men that were back there, different ethnic groups. Well, let me explain. Pelican Bay had inmates that were the CDC had validated as prison gang members, so they had us on indeterminate status, meaning you're not going to the main line, you're staying in the hole indeterminately. So all the different groups came together, said we need to do something to get out of here because it's guys are going crazy and it's messing us up. So what we did was we started with the civil lawsuit, and we filed a lawsuit explaining that the conditions were cruel and unusual. And in addition to the lawsuit, we got all the inmates in different prisons. We got different inmates, and we asked them to support us in a hunger strike. In 2011, we did a hunger strike, and there was people in different prisons, different states, the United States, that joined. After the first hunger strike, they released inmates that they had as associates, not validated prison gang members. They released associates, but they were leaving people that were validated as members still there, saying they weren't going to let us out. So 2013, we did another hunger strike. That hunger strike was huge. All the way to Palestine, people were joining the hunger strike in Europe. Yes, to Europe, different states. And
how long did this strike last?
well, some of the guys had said they were going to go until they died because we were already going crazy. The only way the CDC or the judge was going to rule to release us if they really saw how serious it was. So the hunger strike was used to bring media attention and public awareness of what we were going through. And fortunately, it worked. The judge talked to the attorneys and the CDC, and they settled the case where they started releasing people from the SHU. I stood 27 years in the SHU from 1988 to 2015. 2015, I was released right here to Centinela Prison. Yes, right here where I'm at right now.
There you have it, partners. What do you think? Do you think that Turtle should have been let out of the SHU? It sounds to me like he had plenty of opportunities to stay out of trouble and stay out of the SHU. But once he was at the end of the road, now he's the victim. Now, my issue is not that they let him out of the SHU. My issue is that because they let them out of the SHU, jails and prisons actually became more dangerous, and these guys became ruthless overlords of the prison system. For now, partners, that is all I got. Remember to hold the line and let's hold them accountable.